Hey, good morning. This is potentially going to freak you out, but then you'll be happy. So, Susan, Edwina, and Nicolene, this is a little Friday morning gift. Don't freak out. Maybe get your coffee, but I've solved it. I think I think you all know I've been working on this for a while now, and Susan showed me this other quiz software thing the other day. I'm like, wow, I know this is possible. So the key I thought was mapping it out first, right? Like what's happening. So quick backup. As the three of you know, working on, I want a survey that is, as Susan and I learned, they either call it a scored survey or maybe like a personality test, where if you choose first, you choose answer A, then you choose for question 2, you choose answer B, then this is your answer, right? So you get a customized report at the end. So trying to keep it crazy simple, I kept it to 2 questions with 2 possible answers each because, and I'm thinking of my 2 kids here, because we get into exponential factors. Because I'm pretty sure the answer is 2 squared, 4 possibilities. Because if I added this third one up here, which I didn't dare do, I think we're up to 3 times 3, which would be 9 possible outcomes, right? So I'm into my mind mapping tool here, and I have tricked out the colors here. So you'll see, this is I got to say, this mapping thing, I mean, you guys will laugh at me, but I'm structure and I'm being an architect here, but this is the architecture being happy and smugly grinning because he got it right. So here are my 2 questions. The main question is and I'm just trying to think of something. I mean, I was first started out with chocolate or vanilla ice cream, but I thought, well, I might as well do something remotely useful. So I thought, should you be an indie published or traditionally published? And then I had to think of the most basic questions possible. Money, like, do you love money or do you not need it? I mean, silly. But then an indie future, is it a short-term thing or a long-term thing? So there are 2 questions. First one is this, and then it is this. And so there are 4 possible outcomes. And over here you'll see in the colors, person 1 possible outcome is choose number 1. Question number 1, they choose A. Question number 2, they choose A. And if they do that, so they love money, but they're only in it for the short term, that's going to be a hybrid. So person 2 in the red, they love money, but question B, long-term, writing plans, independent. Awesome. Person 3 is don't need money and short-term, traditional. So they don't care about getting royalties, they don't need the money, and they're only in it for the short term, they should go traditional. Person 4 is B and B, so don't need money, but they're in it for the long term, so they're a hybrid, somewhere in between, right? So we have 3 possible outcomes, and I kind of only really wanted 2 possible outcomes, but then I thought, well, what's the middle thing? How's that going to work? It's not so clear, because if you mix your answers, you're going to get something in the middle. So I think, like, mathematically, we need to have some middle ground, because it's not so clear if you choose that one and that one. Well, that doesn't mean you're one of the extremes anymore. So this is the map. This is where it goes. And this was key for me when I was testing the questions. All right, so let's pretend we want to be an independent. Let's focus on person 2. So I'm going to answer the first question, money, with I love money. And then my question 2 is I'm going to be long term. Okay, so this is mind map. Let's then get over to the question. I will get into MailerLite in a minute here. So here, I already sent this email to my buddy Gern. And he, by the way, I'll get in later about quizzes and surveys and the difference there. But also, Nicolene, I got you here because you can show your answers. It's kind of tricky, but once you set it up, it's all good. So here we go. I want to be a writer. Let's find out. I'm going to go answer the questions. And what was I saying? I'm going to do love. So money, I want love. And I want long term. Continue. There we go. I'm done. 2 questions. Love, long term. And this is for Mr. Gern here. Okay. So we will keep an eye on that inbox. but I think it should come immediately. I can't remember. No, I think there's a 1 minute delay. So during that 1 minute, let's go check out MailerLite. This is scary, I know. This is then, okay, here is the actual email. I'm in the survey of an email, and this is in an automated sequence, and I can explain why that has to be, but, well, here, I can tell you why over here, because the rules are different. If you do, and I think this has to do with the fact that the rules can't be as complicated if the system doesn't know who it is. So if it's just somebody randomly clicking this and clicking that, I can't do the rule that's going to update a custom field on a certain person because I don't have that person yet. I think that's the logic going on there. So let's see. Rule number 1, question. Remember, I can choose which question, money or future. So I'm going to choose money, and is answered with specific answer, love money. Update the custom field. That's a custom field I created called Indie Money, and the answer is love. Okay. Now here, I could write, I love money, or lovey-lovey, right? It doesn't have to be just the answer there. I could write whatever I want, but that's going to come into play later. So I'm going to have 4 rules, right? Money is answered with don't need, then update a custom field, Indie Money, custom field value, don't need. Rule number 3 is for question number 2. Can I get there? If I got to question 2, here's question 2. Then the rules, future question, answered with short, update custom field. This is a different custom field, Indie Future, short. Future, custom field, long, Indie Future, long. Okay, so those are the rules, and I am updating a field on that specific person. Okay, so that's that part. Ready? It gets crazier. But I got to say, it gets better. So then custom fields, well, that's great. We have a custom field. Gern is going to have a custom field, Indie Money, that says, here, I can even show you. Let's go to Gern. Here's Gern, my buddy Gern Blanston. And we will see that Gern, when Gern reloads, look at that. Gern now has custom fields, Indie Money, love, Indie Future, long. But that's just like a static thing. That's his custom field. That's great for Gern. But what are we going to do about it? And what are we going to do about it? And this was the part that took me forever to figure out. But once you figure it out, it's really easy. So I want to say now, I have now what's called a segment. And a segment is like a filter. So I'm saying filter out all subscribers who have the field Indie Money equals love and Indie Future equals long, and they're in this group. And by the way, they're in this group if they got that email in the first place. So I want and. I want that field, and that field equals that, and that field equals that. So love long, and in that group. Okay, so then that person is in this group, Indie Trad Indie. Okay, you guys haven't sipped a coffee? You hanging in here? Are you still there? You guys still there? Hello. Okay, that's that's that. So now we have some things labeled. What are we going to do about them? Let's go over to the automation itself. Here we go. In the automation, this part I'm not 100% sure on, but when is it triggered? I said it's triggered when the updated field is provided. So I said when the Indie Future field is provided, this kicks into action. And that's one thing I've been struggling with, is that when does the automation kick into action? So this is when it kicks into action. Then I wait 1 minute. Then we have 4 questions. So the question is, do they have the segment membership? So are they in the segment Indie Trad Hybrid A? If so, they get this email. And I just made the colors different so I could see the different stuff, right? You're a hybrid author. Congratulations. Yay. And by the way, Nicolene, you can say in there, hey, Gern, oh, it's so great that you, variable, love money, and that you're in this for the variable long term. That's great. You're well, okay, that's not the indie answer question, but you get my idea with the variables. If they're not an indie trad hybrid A, they didn't answer, this and that, then no, they go down to this question. Are they an indie trad indie? You're an independent author. And this is then when they said yes, back to this thing, right? So independent, that one, A and B, love and long term. Then they get this. It wasn't one of those, then maybe it's this one. This is indie traditional. Did they get that traditional author? Yay, they get this one. Did they get none of those? Then they're down to this one, indie trad hybrid B. Then they get this one. This was my error pile, and why are people coming here? And I couldn't figure it out. But I don't think anybody is coming here anymore because I think I fixed everything. However, I would also know, hey, I don't know, maybe they didn't finish the form. Maybe, I don't know, something went wrong. And then they would come here. And so I could make this go on further with what's going on, right? Write them back and say, hey, you didn't complete the form, or who knows. Okay, so let's go check on Gern. And look at that. Gern gets the email that says independent. Of course, my subject line is all about me seeing if I got the right thing. Gern's independent. Look at that. You're an independent author. And I can say variables. You said you loved, and I even have a variable, and then I added the letter D. You said variable, money. You loved money, and your future was variable, long. So there you go, Nicolene. We are adding back their answers so they can see what they got. So let's see if Gern, that's what I did, right? I did love and long. So he's an indie. And then if we're back in MailerLite, that would be this one, completed. And let's go see then in my segments, indie trad indie. Let's refresh this page. And look at that. There's Gern. So Gern is now in my independent authors category. Now remember, the reason I'm doing this is Edwina for the Repossible roadmap, which is going to kind of freak me out about how many variables there will be. But let's start super simple. But Susan, we could simplify that thing you were doing the other day with this as well, and just maybe simplify the number of options. But then also the key is this thing. This is the key. How are you going to label something? Because back here, we could make this simpler. It doesn't need to be that we have absolutely, we don't need, for example, 4 outcomes. I could have made this 2 outcomes. I could have said you do this and this, or this and this, and you get this. And that's maybe with more questions, you simplify the possibilities. Because I think we should work with the end in mind. What is the goal? Like Nicolene, we're talking about human design, and Edwina, we've been talking about gene keys. And so at the end, I want to know if they're traditional or hybrid or independent. So me, like Repossible, it could be, and maybe I don't want to say all 9 books are an option. Maybe I don't know, pick 4. And because maybe you probably shouldn't start with, surrender. And maybe I want the bulk of people going to create. So I'm going to change these things around, right? I'll probably make they do this one and this and this. Or, if they choose that, they go straight to this or something, right? And so that's all in this segmentation thing here. So the segmentation is super cool because I could say here and or I could say field, and I make a different field, or the whatever field, main struggle contains, pain, right? So I would say either all of these together or this one, and then they're going to get my email, right? So this is a long, I don't know how many minutes this is now, long way of saying, Susan, I'm going to save you 29 euros a month. But yes, this took a lot of work to get here, but like many things, the hard work is done. The hard work it was figuring out how to make this happen in MailerLite, and I figured it out. So the hard work is done. Now it's the question of, well, kind of the hard part also is, what are your questions and where are they leading? So I want to work on the repossible roadmap, and I want to come back over here, right? And this is where you really need to map stuff out. And so repossible roadmap, I would have, I think I even have a repossible roadmap here. I can show you to freak you out. I could go through this and do a similar thing, right? Like, where should they go? And so here, see, I started with some questions and I was kind of just messing around. But then, you know, this, maybe a bunch of them lead to create, right? Okay, that's it. I hope, I hope you have tears of joy in your eyes and not pain and suffering because you just watched me go through this. But basically, and of course I'm thinking this is an awesome tutorial to even put up on YouTube or even make like a mini crazy course like, hey, want to save $29 the hard way? Because, by the way, Edwina and Nicolene, Susan is using a tool that does all this. Although, Susan, I don't even know. I mean, you remember you had one line to one line. I don't know how it did the one line. What if it goes to this next line, and what if they choose the different one? You know, the complex conditional logic. Because this isn't. This is complex conditional logic, but then I didn't know exactly how that worked with your program. Okay, that's it for a Friday morning. I'm heading out the door with Pepper, but this is one of those like, I got it. I beat the system. I solved the puzzle. And this is super cool. Okay, that's it. Thanks, guys. Bye.